A very warm welcome, everybody, to the Drivers' Press Conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Japanese Grand Prix. We have the usual two groups coming your way. Group 1, left to right, we have Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc, and Franco Colopinto. A very warm welcome to the three of you. Franco, if we could start with you, please. A brilliant race last time out. Just how much of a breakthrough was China for you?
It was good. I've been looking for those points since a long time ago, and it was really positive for me and for the team to have a double point finish again since a very long time ago. So it was good, of course, that we were looking for more, and it was looking really positive at the start of the race. We were running 5th and 6th, and it was looking like we could score a whole lot more points, and of course the safety car kind of damaged our race, mine and Pierre as well. Mine because of the strategy was much worse, but you know, it was still positive to see the performance, to see that we could fight on the front and that we could be up there with the big team. So I think generally it was a really positive weekend. In China, coming from Melbourne, it was a big step forward, and that was, of course, really positive, and yeah, motivated a lot of people in the factory. You could see the faces. I went a couple of days ago, and everyone was looking really positive, happy, motivated, wanting more, and that's what we want to see. So yeah, good weekend.
Confidence is a fickle thing for drivers. Just how much happier are you with this year's car compared to last year?
I'm happier, of course, that when you can fight a bit further up, it makes you feel more confident and makes you, you know, give that extra little bit in different situations. And I think when you are so close to go through Q3, to, you know, when you're in the fight, it is different. And last year, unfortunately, we didn't have that. This year is looking much better, and of course the car did steps, and it's looking much closer to our teams. And that I think also knowing that we have a lot of performance coming, or that we see many different things to improve, it's also really positive. You know, when you are up there and you know that you've got many things to fix and to improve, it's even better. So I think looking forward to this year, it's feeling more competitive, and that makes you happier. And of course we want to be fighting for points consistently, which is what we are looking for and trying to aim at.
And you think you can achieve that this weekend at Suzuka?
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's another new weekend, new track, very different on energy, on kind of corners, very long, very high speed. So it's going to be really different. I think still we need to understand our biggest weaknesses and where we are still needing to work more. China was a really different track to this one, so we need to see. But I think generally it's new for everyone. No one really knows where it's going to be, and we need to wait until tomorrow.
All right. Well, best of luck this weekend. Thank you, Franco. Lance, if we could come to you now. Difficult start to the year for the team. Given the problems, how would you describe the mood in the team? Let's start with that.
Well, everyone's just working as hard as they can to improve the situation. For sure, none of us are happy with where we are. It's not the start of the season that we hoped for. But yeah, it is what it is, and just working as hard as possible to improve it.
Can we talk about potential improvements? I mean, laps have been limited, we know that, but do you believe the car still has potential?
I think so, yes. We know we have issues on the engine side. There's areas we need to work on with the car. You know, I think high-speed corners is still a weakness for us. So, yeah, we're just trying to improve in all areas that we can, that we know that needs work. And, yeah, it's just about bringing performance as quick as we can.
Honda's home race here in Japan. What does success look like for you here at Suzuka?
Well, we're just trying to improve the issues we had in China. I mean, in China we had big vibration problems, you know, reliability issues. So just tackling some of those problems, and I think getting both cars to the checkered flag would already be a good step forward for us.
Okay, look, final one from me. There's a lot of speculation surrounding the role of team principal at Aston Martin. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think Adrian has too much on his plate as things stand?
I mean, I don't know all the details about that, but I know Adrian's a team principal right now. I know that we have to improve the engine, we have to improve the car, and I think that's what everyone's focused on.
All right, thank you for that. And Charles, if we could come to you now. 2 races, 2 podiums for Ferrari so far this year. How much potential does this year's car have?
Well, I think as everyone is saying, I think this championship is going to be all about development and upgrades that each teams are going to bring. For now, we are in an okay-ish place, but of course we're not here to only do podiums, and we want to win races, which at the moment seems very difficult because Mercedes is at a very high level. But we are working very hard, and especially the people back at the factory are working extremely hard for bringing upgrades as soon as possible. I know there's quite a bit of things coming up soon. Whether this is going to make the difference or not, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure the others are not on vacation either, so it's going to be tough.
You say you're in an okay-ish place. Just how close to Mercedes are you?
I don't think it's as close as what maybe people think. Obviously, seeing the first few races, we see lots of fightings between the cars, which is actually quite nice. But as soon as you are a little bit suboptimal with these cars, you lose a lot of lap time. So our only chance to stay with them is to annoy them in the first few laps. But as soon as they get free air, then they've shown their real pace in the last race. And I think there's still these 4 or 5 tenths that we've seen throughout these first two races. So it's still a significant advantage. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't discourage me. And again, we have some things in the pipeline. We've got to focus on ourselves, not trying to overdo, because it's never good in these situations, and then we'll see where that brings us.
The gap between you and Mercedes appears to be a little bigger in qualifying than it is in the race. Do you think the energy recharge changes for qualifying here at Suzuka will bring you closer to them?
I don't think it will be a game changer. I think it will be pretty similar, apart from for the driver, where maybe a little bit less lift and coast, which is, I think, a good thing. I think for qualifying there are still some changes that needs to be done to make sure that we can push at the maximum whatever the limit of the car is. But at the moment, so far, for the first 2 races, it was more about managing everything properly in qualifying rather than the actual flat-out push that we were used to in Q3 in the past years. So there's still some fine-tuning to be done on that. But I don't think that this particular change will be a game changer for this weekend.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's now open this to the floor. We will start with the broadcasters. Who's first, please? David, yeah.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Charles, on that subject then, of tweaks that can be made for qualifying, what would you do if you had the power to improve things? What would your suggestions be?
I don't really want to go into the detail of this because it's so complex and there are so many different little things that you can do. And I also think that obviously whenever there are these kind of changes, everybody's pushing a little bit its agenda. So, but I think, just whatever solution that helps us to push at the maximum those cars, because that's what I loved. I mean, that's what I love about this sport, really, is when you get to Q3 and that you have the maximum pressure on you to deliver at best at that moment, and that you try and do a lap that you haven't done before. And at the moment, this is not possible, because every time you do something that you haven't done before, then the car is just trying to adapt to it, and it makes you lose more than what you gain. So I think this is the biggest problem at the moment. The solutions is very, very, very complex, and yeah, but I know that everybody is trying to brainstorm ideas in order to find the best solution, and hopefully we come with a good solution very soon.
Charles, have you done a qualifying lap of Monaco on the simulator with these cars yet?
I mean, we've got quite a lot of issues to solve, so Monaco is quite a long way before we think about it and try it. So no, I haven't tried Monaco yet, but yeah, haven't tried Monaco yet.
All right, thanks. Next one.
A question to Charles. Charles, on this track, Ferrari can do something like Max did last year, beating the strongest McLaren?
I think it's a very different situation. I think after the first free practice, we'll already have an idea of where we stand compared to the Mercedes. I don't see any characteristics that would change drastically what we've seen in the first two races. So at the moment, I will say no. But yeah, let's wait and see. There's still some very long back straight where we know Mercedes is going to be extremely strong, but it's also a very twisty track in the first two sectors. So hopefully we can have a big enough advantage to be faster on the overall lap. But at the moment it looks unlikely with the picture that we've made ourselves in the first two races.
Okay, thank you for that. Next.
Raphael Samt, Service TV. Question for Charles. Charles, Sebastian Vettel once said, in some way, everybody's a Ferrari fan. And people love to see you fighting up front again. After all these years in red, what's Ferrari to you?
I mean, Ferrari is a family and a team that I've always loved and dreamed of driving for since I'm a kid. And this hasn't changed one bit since I joined the team in 2019. So the passion is still there. Then, of course, the will to win, and we want to win eventually, and I want to win. It's been so many years, obviously, working with the team to try and come back to the top. It's been a good step forward this year. We are just not yet where we want to be, and we'll keep pushing towards that direction. And I hope our time will come soon because, yeah, it's been a long time since I started, and obviously time's passed. I'm doing my best, and I hope our time will come this year or as soon as possible.
Thank you. Next.
Andrew Benson, BBC Sport for Charles. Charles, there have been two different races on different tracks where there's both been these yo-yo type racing battles that you've been involved in, among others, perhaps for different reasons. Can you explain why those battles are happening in that way, and if it's different from track to track, the reasons why? And also, on a wider scale, is it like Mario Kart, as some people have said?
Honestly, I was a bit skeptical. I mean, I was very skeptical at the beginning of the year, and after testing, I had some particular expectations going into the year that weren't very good about racing. I've been positively surprised. At least for us in the front, it's actually been a lot nicer than what I thought. And surely you've got some overtakes that are artificial, just like it was the case also with the RS sometimes last year. However, there are also many overtakes where it's actually on the limit, and where you end up in a similar state of the battery at the same point for different circumstances, and which makes it actually quite fun. We've seen it in Australia, we've seen it in Shanghai, and I've had a lot more fun than I initially thought. As I said, I think in qualifying it's not the most fun I've had, so this is maybe something that we need to look at. But in terms of fighting, I enjoyed it a lot more than what I thought. And why that? Well, it's mostly because Mercedes is quite a bit stronger than us, but as soon as you get out of that optimal window of the battery, you lose a lot of lap time. And so that brings the cars together, and that's why there's a lot of change of position, together with the fact that the car behind recharges more than the car in front. So all of this, I mean, these two things specifically makes it quite difficult to go away once you are in a fight.
Franco, can I bring you in on this? You were involved in many battles in China. Was it like Mario Kart for you? How much did you enjoy it?
Not quite. I managed to see in front a lot of laps, so it was, to me, it was quite fun. And I think, to me, it felt better and more fun to be fighting with cars with a different PU, because I think that energy management is different between the teams and between the different PU manufacturers, and then it becomes a bit easier, I think, to to fight, to defend as well, a bit more difficult, but it kind of brings battles a bit closer with each other because it's so different where the teams use the energies, which makes it a bit more interesting. I think generally it is difficult to follow, but I've been following close some cars and it feels better than last year in terms of turbulence and all that kind of thing. And to be honest, it felt fun. China was a good race, and I did enjoy it quite a lot. I enjoyed the defense and when I was attacking others, and generally it was pretty good. It didn't feel too artificial. I think the overtakes were just on the limit all the time. I've seen some that were a bit more artificial, but I think it's part of the changes that the sport made, and that's still improving and is still going on the right direction. And I think it's still a lot of areas to make better. And the important part is that they are looking at those and that they understand them and that they are having, I think, a clear look at it, and they will make it better with the races. It's been only 2 races at the minute. It's really early to talk to say if we like it or not. But I think generally it's gonna be better with the races as well and with the years.
Thank you for that. Let's bring in the written media now as well. Who's first, please?
It's another one for Franco. There are some talks lately about a potential show run from you in Buenos Aires. I don't know if you're in a position to confirm that, but even if not, what would it mean in general terms? And also, what would it mean to you to drive an F1 car in Argentina with all the enthusiasm going on?
It would be super cool. It's something I always wanted to do because it's so hard for the people from Argentina. I've got so many fans and so much people supporting me since I was very little in F3, and it's been 25 years since an F1 driver raced since an Argentine driver raced in F1. So I think for me to be able to bring a Formula 1 car to Argentina with all these super passionate people and fans of the sport, it would be super cool. I know it's really hard for them to come to races. It's such a big effort and such a big sacrifice that for me, the team, sponsors to be able to bring a car there for them to enjoy and to have the experience, it would be amazing. I don't think anything is confirmed or close from it, but it's a dream I've had since I joined F1, and something that in the future it would be amazing to happen. I don't know if now or whenever. I would really like that this thing goes ahead, and yeah, let's see. But yeah, I have no news or nothing confirmed. It's just a dream in my mind.
Thank you. Next.
Shiga Sports Japan, David Schneider. Question for Lance. Obviously, the vibration is the main focus right now for improving the car as well as the reliability. Once that is resolved, how quickly do you expect the pace of your car to catch up with the midfield?
Well, yeah, we need to improve the vibration, we need to improve the reliability, but even when we're finishing laps, we're 3.5 seconds off the lead cars. So there's a lot of things to improve. Even when we fix the vibration and improve the reliability, we need to find performance, like I said earlier, in the engine, more power, and more downforce. So a lot of areas to work on.
Thanks, Lance. Next.
John Owen from the race. To Charles, on the qualifying issue, your sprint qualifying second effort in China is a good case study of quirks in one part of the track affecting deployment elsewhere. How hard was it, and what was your reaction when you found out that a throttle lift in one corner kind of wrecked energy deployment half a lap later? And is the key for qualifying to maybe put more of this energy deployment in the hands of the drivers rather than computer code?
I think there are some fine-tunings like the one you just said with that very small lift, which was, I think, out of 9, which kind of changes all the deployment, and then I lost half a second in one straight. And these are the kind of changes that I think we all, little by little, pinpoint ting it to the FIA, and I'm sure that there will be some changes in the future to try and address those issues, because it's a little bit silly that to lose half a second just because of a very small lift at some point. What was my reaction? I was very frustrated, very, very, very frustrated, because it's things that I mean, the lift was, I think, 2 or 3% of throttle, which is kind of nothing. It's in the vibration of the foot. So it's not something that I expected at all. But it's something that I had experienced also before since testing, so I knew it was a possibility, and these kind of things can happen. But when it happens, it's very frustrating, especially when it's in Q3.
Thank you. Next.
Ben Waterworth, Speed Cafe. Question for Lance. You were touching on the vibrations before. Is there anything that you and Fernando have been able to do physically to try and prepare yourself a little bit more while you've got those issues? And for yourself, is there any concern about flaring up your old hand injury sort of with the vibrations at the moment based on the previous injury you had with it?
Not much to do physically, no. Hands are all good.
Any concerns about the injury from a couple of years ago?
No, I just said it's all good.
Okay. Any more? Yes.
Scott Mitchell-Mann from the race. A question for Franco. Franco, the qualifying deficit to Pierre in China, how much of that was down to any differences in car specification on upgrades on your side, and do you expect to have a completely equal car this weekend?
I think so. China, we found something, especially Friday evening after that sprint quali, it was very big, the gap. We knew we had some differences because on Thursday, before running, my gearbox broke, so we had to swap, and that came with differences on the rear suspension, which was like an old part that we had in testing. That was the biggest one, and then some front wing under delivering that we still need to understand more. But I think generally the cars were in a much better place in the race. The rear stayed like that, but it's part of the issue we had in the gearbox. I think here we should have the same. And generally, I've been feeling better with the car, and compared to Pierre, I think to understand a lot of the differences on driving that he has because of experience and him racing for so many years in F1 have been really, really helpful to improve myself. And I think I've been happier and happier with the car since Melbourne. I've been improving and getting closer, and it's definitely going to help these things on the rear, on the front wing, getting to it a bit closer. I think it's part of the process. The teams are still bringing parts, and with new cars, we are working really hard back in ASTON, here on track, back in factory to bring all the bits and pieces we can of performance, and that really race of development between teams is getting bigger and bigger, and the ones that bring the parts of the car quicker is going to be a big benefit. So let's see here. I think new track for me, but again, one I really wanted to drive in, and hopefully the car is quick and we can fight for more points with Pierre.
Thank you. Yes, another one, please.
Jay Brooks, Local Sport. Question for Charles, please. Charles, you spoke about this being a development season. Could you just talk about what kind of areas of attention you'd like that are on your shopping list, and do you think it's realistic for Ferrari to beat Mercedes over the course of the season? Thank you.
I mean, we are still very early on in the season, so yes, I do believe it's possible. Is it a huge challenge? It absolutely is, and I think also because Mercedes is not relaxing and will keep pushing massively as well. The point of focus at this moment of the season, at this moment of these regulations, there are many. Obviously, there's the optimization of the power unit. That is probably the biggest difference between us and Mercedes at the moment is the power unit, and just with the optimization, you can make a big difference. Then, of course, there's not only that. There's also raw power that, for now, we are down compared to them. And then on the chassis, is just all the fine tunings that you can think of that you always pinpoint at the beginning of the season, where you try and understand what is the main limitation that is limiting you. and we are starting to have quite a clear picture on what are the characteristics of the car that we need to improve in order to get better. But I think chassis-wise, it's quite a strong car actually, and that's probably our strength so far. Power unit is where we are lacking compared to the Mercedes at the moment.
Thank you, Charles. Next.
Ronald Vording, Motorsport.com. It's another one for Charles, basically to go back to the yo-yo racing that we talked about before. Franco said it might get better later on in the season with more races. Do you think the yo-yo racing will get less the more teams learn about energy management, or is it just part of the DNA of these regulations?
I said the same thing actually after Australia, but in Shanghai we've had obviously the sprint race and then the normal race, and so the sprint race was, I think, a good way to test those strategies and to make sure that we were in a good window for the race. And actually, in the race, we still had quite a lot of overtakes. So I think we might see a little bit less of it going forward. However, I was surprised that it didn't get much better from sprint race to the race in a positive way. I think it was as good for overtaking. So yeah, I'm a little bit mixed. After the first race, I was pretty sure it was going to get less and less. There will be less and less yo-yo effect. However, after Shanghai, probably there's quite a bit coming from the car as well, and that will remain.
Thank you, Charles. Yep, another one. David.
Hey, David Cross, Sky Sports F1. It's a question for Lance. A lot of people are talking about when are Aston going to get, improvements, when's the engine going to be improved. But from a driver's perspective, how painful is it to drive this car? At what stage into a stint or into a race do you start to feel those vibrations hurting you? How much longer do you think that you can carry on? Obviously, China wasn't anything you could do about with the retirement there. And just what is the sensations feeling like from a driver's perspective?
Right now I think we can complete like half the race. But then also we just have reliability issues. So it's very uncomfortable. And but at the end of the day, we just want to be much more competitive as a team. That's the most painful thing for everyone. And, we're all pushing very hard to just bring more performance and, get back in the fight where we want to be, which is, up at the front of the pack. So, that's everyone's focus. And, it's just about, getting there as quickly as we can.
Thank you, Lance. Any more? Yes.
Scott Mitchell-Mann from The Race. A question for Charles, but if either of the other two drivers have anything to add, please do. With the trade-off here for energy management in qualifying, just wondered, I know the end of the longest straights are obviously going to be big priority areas, but for the Degner curves, so turns 8 and 9, those are probably the two best corners on the circuit, just in terms of how you attack them. Is there a risk at all that ends up a bit like turns 9 and 10 in Melbourne, where you're having to energy manage so much on the entry to Degner 1 that the entry speed's so low that it's not the challenge that it used to be?
I'm not 100% sure yet because I did the simulator. I obviously did the simulator, but these new rules weren't out yet, so I did it on the previous kind of qualifying rules. Which my feedback was that it was quite a shame for turn 8, 9, for also some of the corners which weren't really corners where we were pushing anymore, but more about energy management. However, it's going in the right direction, the changes that have been made since then, so I hope it can brings back the character out of these corners, because that's what makes Suzuka so special and so enjoyable to drive, and we shouldn't lose that, especially in qualifying when you really push the car to the limit. So I really hope we have that once we get into the car tomorrow.
Thank you, Charles. If we're quick, we can squeeze in one more.
Andrew Benson, BBC Sport. It's a follow-up to that one. What is the risk of the S's not being grip limited in qualifying this year? Charles mainly, but Franco, if you've got an opinion on that, that would be interesting. Lance, I don't know whether you do, but you might not know because of your car. I don't think it will be all
power limited through that. I mean, it will be a very big surprise, but again, with these cars, we're probably not going to have a lot of power through the S's. But before speaking, I would like to see also what are the implications of the change that have been made since I was last on the simulator, because as I said, it goes in the right direction. Then I think we will at one point hit a limit with those cars, but it comes at the benefit of racing, because honestly, I don't think that we've seen in the last quite a few years in Formula One as many overtakes as we've seen in the first few races, as many excitement as well in the ahead of the pack. So that is a good thing. However, it comes at a bit of a cost, where in qualifying we need to find compromises, which we are trying to work around that at the moment, but we didn't quite find the fix. So. But yeah, I expect the first sector a little bit less exciting compared to last year, for sure, in qualifying.
Right, and we're going to have to end it there, I'm afraid. We're out of time. Thank you very much for that. Best of luck this weekend. Thank you.